You're locked on to Hans Olsen and Scotty Chin.
That's right. Yeah!
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, if you're a guy in your 40s, late 30s, you know this. And Mark Medina joins us now. Mark, I'm sure you've done a ton of radio interviews. I'm sure you've been bumped back with this song many, many times.
First time ever.
Yeah, I bet.
Hey, let's just think that way. But you know what? The first time, it's amazing. The 40th time is amazing. It never gets old.
Nice.
Good.
Well, good. We appreciate you played along. Mark Medina joining us. Funky Mark Medina, kind enough to hang out with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Are you surprised that Minnesota is getting worked over the way they are so far in this series against Oklahoma City?
Not surprised, because I think the Thunder have shown that they're clearly a much better team than the Lakers and the Warriors. So Minnesota, they're a legit respected team. We've seen a lot of tangible growth, but you know, when you go up against a formidable opponent with like the Thunder that just has so much defensive depth, they're going to run into a buzzsaw. So I think that partly explains why, you know, Anthony Edwards hasn't been able to get the shots that he's wanted, and why Julius Randle has struggled in the playoffs, you know, much differently than when he had this resurgent run against the Lakers and the Warriors.
Is there anything Minnesota can do to shake this?
Not really. I mean, unless there's a major injury to the Thunder, most notably to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think it's just a talent and depth gap. And I think what's very interesting here is it's not like the Wolves are a scrub team. They actually have a lot of good depth. It's just that the Thunder is just so well stacked. Shai being an MVP for a reason, with leading the league in scoring, for better and for worse, knowing how to draw fouls at the right time and being an improving passer and even defender. But they have too many wing defenders to count, and they got a lot of good size with Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein. That you add all that up, even though Minnesota has star power, they have bench depth, they have good defensive versatility, still not enough because the Thunder are that loaded.
Are the people that are complaining about the friendly whistle that he's getting, are those merited?
I think it's case by case. I think the most infamous one where Anthony Edwards was tossing the bottom in frustration, I thought there was some embellishment, but I personally think that the amount of whistles that he gets, more of them are real than fabricated. I just feel from an eye test perspective that watching Shai Gilgeous-Alexander play basketball as well as try to draw the whistle, it's much different than what we see James Harden do, you know, most notably during his time with Houston, but even with the Clippers now, you know, because Harden, he would do his flailing and trying to lean into defenders on step-back threes and get their landing space, where here Shai is driving to the basket. He's trying to use angles. Yes, you will see in a lot of plays he'll embellish contact, but I think a lot of times that's more about trying to put the finishing touch on something that was already earned. So, yeah, I get why the opponents are frustrated, and I do get case to case. He does deserve some SAG recognition, you know, as far as being on the committee, but I think most often than not, he's earned his trips to the free throw line.
So we talk about NBA parity and this being the seventh champion and all of this, and now we look at Oklahoma City. You just talked about it. Their talent, and they're very versatile. Chet Holmgren is 23. Jalen Williams is 24. Shai's 26. Lou Dort is 26. Hartenstein's 27. This is a very young, very capable, and what appears to be a very durable team now that Chet's got himself healthy. It's been impressive to see him stay on the court. So are we looking at a potential dynasty with this group?
Yeah, potential dynasty, relatively speaking, in today's NBA, because there hasn't been a repeat, as you mentioned, since the Golden State Warriors in 2017, 2018. But I think the good thing that the Thunder have going for them is this. They have a superstar talent in Shai. They drafted really, really well and player developed really, really well. And at this point, the bill isn't due for rookie extensions just yet. That'll come in a few years, and that's when, you know, Sam Presti will have to make tough and painful decisions. But for now, you know, it's all steam ahead. I think that, you know, when you're looking at parity, I think it's good for the NBA. These have been great games to watch. I think, you know, at the same time, they won't ever admit it, but the NBA would love the Knicks to be in the finals because of big market and the redemption story for not being in the finals since the 90s. But as long as the quality of play is better, that's all that matters. But that being said, I hope that there's some tweaks in the CBA moving forward, that these spending restrictions with the second apron aren't so inhibitive that we're having parity more because of process of elimination than actually sustained excellence. You can look at the Denver Nuggets as Exhibit A of that, where, they left – they decided to not keep certain free agents that were really good role players because of financial decisions, and they leaned on the draft. Now, I think part of the NBA's thinking is you got to draft really well, player develop really well, but I think that really increases reduces a team's margin for error. So I hope that they can find a middle ground with that, but I'm loving these playoff games, and it doesn't matter what market size you're in, what team it's in. As long as it's good basketball, that's what will resonate with today's fan.
So is it, in your opinion, as a guy that's covered the NBA for quite some time, is it good for the league to have 7 champions in 7 years, or is it better to have the dynasties?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think ideally it shouldn't be an either or. You want to be able to, celebrate excellence, but I also think you don't want to have it preconceived ahead of the season that this team is going to be the runaway favorite. So when we're looking at the most recent repeat with the Warriors, I think that the Warriors' success was good for the league. It's still long-lasting. You have Steph Curry being a generational talent. The Warriors have been such a devoted fan base, and they've gone through their own bad seasons, decades prior. But I think what isn't good for the league is having it thought ahead of time that because you have 4 Hall of Famers, in this case Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, they're going to win the championship barring a major injury. I think every team wants to feel like it has a chance. But I will say this, and this goes back to my previous point about, the spending restrictions. Just like there's the old adage with front offices that they say that generally they want to give a championship team an opportunity to defend their title, I think the league office should have the same attitude when it comes to collective bargaining. And so, again, I think these second apron concerns are too prohibitive, and they need to tweak it a little bit. So it's not so extreme that teams that even do want to spend, have the means to spend, small or big market, aren't making good basketball decisions because of these, not even just punitive taxes, but really stringent roster building restrictions. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, let's say we've got an expansion draft coming. All right, we're building a new NBA team, and you're in charge of the draft. And in this,
I would get fired before I'd be hired. But let's go ahead.
Well, let's see. This will be a little bit of a test. In this expansion draft, you can take one of the following 4. You could take one between Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Brunson, or Halliburton. Who are you taking in your expansion draft to get your team started?
Wow. Well, those are all great options. So you can't necessarily choose wrong. But if I had to choose, I would take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Maybe that's easy to say because he won the MVP, but he's still in the prime of his career. I think he has a trickle-down effect with, he is an isolation-heavy player, but he's a good playmaker when he has good talent around him. Great team guy. I would pick Jalen Brunson after him if he wasn't available because he's a clutch player, great competitor, has so much humility. I don't ever expect players to have to do this because, the marketplace is the marketplace. But the fact that he was willing to take a relative discount to help the roster construction, that would make my job easier. But I think Shai is the better player. I would take Brunson after that. Anthony Edwards, he's improved a lot, but I just feel like Brunson, with his clutch play and just how his maturity is, that sets the tone. And again, he's a great player. He's improved himself as a leader, but I'm just such a Jalen Brunson fan that I would pick him second.
Mark Medina, kind enough to join us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You hear him right here on Fox Sports Radio, and writer for Athlon as well. But we're still not quite 2 weeks removed from the lottery, so there's still a lot of salty Jazz fans around here right now with what happened in that lottery. But if you can, and I know it's early in the process, and maybe I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit, but do you feel like this draft has quality available for it that may not be franchise-altering like a Cooper Flagg might be, but somebody that certainly can help in the development and the long-term future of the team? Is that available at 5?
Yeah, I need to dive further in on candidates, but I think that generally, outside of Cooper Flagg, there's not a generational talent, but, you can get a good player that can be a rotation player right away. That's great. But I think ideally use these draft picks in a trade to make a major move. I think the challenging part, though, is that a lot of teams are going to want to hoard draft picks, and it's all tied together with the potential dominoes, leading into the NBA draft. This isn't going to happen necessarily, but it's going to be a pivot point. Lead into the draft, they're going to get clarity from Milwaukee on what's the market for Giannis Antetokounmpo. From Phoenix, what's the market for Kevin Durant? So all these teams need to be ready and be on deck to strike. But there's also a very good chance that it's a hurry up and wait, and that domino doesn't fall until after free agency. So it's a very challenging conundrum, and I'm sure Danny Ainge has done all his permutations, and he'll continue to twist arms. But we'll wait and see.
What does this Dallas team look like with Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, P.J. Washington? Can't think of who the other backcourt is. Is it Marshall? And then throw in Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, they're not championship contending favorite, but they're back in the playoff mix. I think it's very notable and actually good that you didn't put Kyrie in there because the expectation for him to come back at the beginning of the season isn't realistic, and knowing track records of ACL injuries, his best case scenario from, doctors I've talked to would be midway through the season. But even if he's midway through the season, the Mavericks have to assume that he's going to be a shell of himself with minutes restrictions, conditioning rust, trying to get his timing and rhythm back. And so you almost view Kyrie for next season as a glorified role player, and that's it. But everything else is very positive. Now, I know, Anthony Davis has had a bad luck of misfortune with injuries, and his injury history is what it is, and he's coming off of one. But since 2023 playoffs, or since midway through the 2022-23 season, he hasn't actually had a major injury that required significant time. So with that, I think it's reasonable to think he's not going to be AC Green and play all 82, but I think that he'll be more available in the majority of the game. So with that, there'll be a playoff team. The good thing about Cooper Flagg is that not only is he going to change a franchise, but he's very flexible in doing it. And he's not a jack-of-all-trades guy. He just has so many different lanes he can excel in. He can be a number 1, number 2, number 3. He's such a great defender. He can attack the rim with force, but he's a fundamentally sound player. He's not just a highlight reel. So I think what's very fascinating about Cooper is that he breaks the mold usually of what a number 1 pick is about. You think of these franchise-changing players, they usually have a defining trait about them. Victor Wembanyama, his height and his, point guard skills and a big man's body. Shaquille O'Neal's power, or LeBron James, his power in a Magic Johnson type of game. Cooper Flagg has so much versatility, but he excels in so many things that he's going to be ready, and he's the real deal.
David Adelman earned that job in Denver. Do you think 2-3 years from now, the Nugget fans are still pleased with that hire?
I think they're going to be pleased with the hire. I don't think there's any issue with David Adelman, but they have so much work to do.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a lot of tools to upgrade their roster, and they have a lot of roster needs. Because Russell Westbrook, he was great in the first round, not good in the second round. This is who he's going to be. He's going to give you competitiveness. and the moments that, his shortcomings reveal itself. They don't have a lot of spending tools to really get guys. And I think Nikola Jokic, he should be there as long as he's willing to be there. He's a franchise player. He'll always be an MVP candidate. But you never know how healthy Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, and Michael Porter Jr. can be. And I think when you're looking at Aaron Gordon, he's a stalwart. He is someone that is a gamer. But I can't say that's the same thing about Jamal Murray. He showed up in the playoffs, which is good. You'd rather have someone show up in the playoffs than the regular season. But you also have to have one of your star players be consistent in the regular season too. And Michael Porter Jr., he's just a wild card here. And so if they're going to make a deal, you would think that he has to be, the centerpiece in the deal. But there's a lot of mixed feelings about him because he's really, really good as a shooter and a scorer, not great as a defender. And I think he's recovered from the most severe injuries that he had at the beginning of his career, but he's also not out of the woods. And so with that, I don't think, David Adelman and how he's going to be as a head coach, he proved he's going to be great. And even when the honeymoon dies down, he'll continue to be great. But this isn't a coaching problem as it was during Michael Malone's era. It is a roster construction problem. And so they got whoever they hire to lead or to replace Calvin Booth. They have a pretty tough homework assignment.
Mark, we appreciate your time. Always great insight from you. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and enjoy the rest of the playoffs.
Appreciate you. Appreciate the intro music.
You got it.
Every time, Mark.
Every time. Mark Medina from Athlon as well as Fox Sports Radio. Right here on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
You run into the expansion draft. Who are you taking? Out of those four. It's hard to not go with Shea because of what we're seeing.
And that's the thing. I want to be contradictory to a certain extent, and I want to go with my guy Anthony Edwards, but this has not been a good series for him.
No.
There's a moment where it looked like he was right there on the cusp, and we've seen that from him, where there's a moment like, all right, he's taking that next jump. I'm not going to look stupid by saying he was going to be an MVP in the next 3 years. And then he kind of regresses, and it just, I want to take him, but I would probably go Shea Gilgeous. Especially if he's going to continue to get this whistle.
He put up a fight. I mean, you could tell it's in him.
Yeah.
But it's just not presenting as winning basketball.
And the maturity, I'm still a little concerned with, too.
Yeah. Did you hear the numbers? Was it yesterday that we were going through those numbers? The Anthony Edwards fine?
For dropping the F-bomb?
Did you hear the totals?
The season swear jar, as I labeled it.
Have you heard the season total?
No.
$430,000.
For curse words?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And a middle finger. It's different usage of an inability to control yourself.
Yeah.
Some sign language, some verbal.
Yeah.
$430,000. He just got hit with $50,000. He had a $100,000 fine earlier in the season because during a live TV interview, he dropped a curse word. He had a $75,000 fine in December because he used a curse word when degrading the officiating staff. That's a house.
Yeah, pretty good house. Well, I don't know. Not now.
Not now.
Yeah.
It won't even get you an acre and a house in Declo.
I know, right? You believe that?
No, I don't. No, Declo's out of their minds right now. Stop it.
Everybody think you go to Declo, get yourself a nice little cheap house.
Stop.
That ain't happening anymore. I don't know what's going on. Declo's blowing up.
Just tell me you got property in Declo.
I have zero property in Declo.
You could have bought $200 acres.
Easy.
When you were younger.
Yeah, back in the day. No, my dad, people don't care about this, but there's these, you've seen where my parents
it's right
lived.
on the river.
And there were 5 lots that he bought. He owns one. 5.
The Girard compound.
There's 5 acres there. And he subdivided those into 5 1-acre lots.
Uh-huh.
And he bought all 5 of them in 1994. No, it was before that. 93, 94, that era for $10,000.
Yeah. Well, I just...
Let's just say throughout the years, he's sold all of them and has made a little bit more than the...
I was looking at the property you sent me, the $500,000 property.
Yeah.
So that's on an acre. The house that's on that, I would value it at maybe $120,000.
Easy. Yeah, if that.
So you're telling me now that you're right around the $380,000 an acre. An acre.
Yeah.
In Declo.
In Declo. And look, I love my hometown, but it's Declo. Come on.
We've got a housing crisis here.
Hey, do we got an old friend stopping by?
No, I ixnayed it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dude.
We would have behaved ourselves.
You know we would have been cool. What?
If it was
Why are
fun,
you embarrassed of us?
Fun, we may have probed a little deeper, but with a friend that we, come on.
No, it's not looking good.
Okay, well, shoot. All right, 2:30. We'll spin the wheel. A little sports roulette coming up next right here on the Zone.
Hanson Scotty on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, giving away more tickets. That's right. Call number 12, 801-575-ZONE. We're going to give you a pair of tickets to see Hardy on the Jim Bob World Tour next Thursday, May 29th at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. If you don't win, that's all right. Listen next hour. JJ and Alex will be giving away another pair.
I find out things about you all the time, buddy. I've been doing this a long time.
Not as much as we find out about you.
Oh,
I feel like you're a little bit more mysterious sometimes. But yes, we do occasionally find some things out about Scott. It's like, wait, what?
I just found out that you haven't seen Footloose or Grease.
Correct.
Footloose is a better movie. I would say Grease is probably more iconic. Is that fair?
And by the way, this isn't some like misogynist. I'd never watch that. Blah, 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 blah.
I think Footloose more iconic in these parts.
I just never got around to watching it. You know what the other one I haven't watched? Kind of in that same breath? Dirty Dancing.
Oh, jeez.
I don't look. I just, you know how you get to a certain point in your life and you don't watch a movie, then you're like, okay, well, that's kind of apparently who I am. I haven't purposely not watched it. I just haven't gotten around to watching it.
Ranked, I'd go Dirty Dancing 1, Footloose 2, and Grease 3. I haven't watched Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I think I have, but I think it's trash though.
Yeah, like I that kind of stuff's
The
not.
people that dress up and go see that,
Yeah, it's strange to me.
weirdos. They're below sci-fi characters at Comic-Con, in my opinion.
People that dress like Klingons.
Yeah, I put them above people that dress like people from the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
They raise up a couple fingers and go nanu nanu. Was that Star Wars? Nanu nanu.
No, that was Mork and Mindy. Nanny, nanny.
Oh.
You're thinking, live long and prosper.
Yeah, but that's also nanu nanu, isn't it?
I don't remember. Did he have a hand gesture too?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Didn't Robin Williams? Didn't he do nanu nanu and do the Vulcan sign with the fingers?
Yeah, I think he did have something like that. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Well, buddy, please go watch Dirty Dancing.
I'm not going to watch Dirty
good.
Dancing.
It's
Jennifer
so
Grey is
good.
amazing.
Oh, I'm sure she is. I like Jennifer Grey and Ferris Bueller's Day
And
Off.
so is Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze's awesome on there,
Can
too.
I just keep watching Roadhouse instead?
Sure. Yes, it's just a cleaner version of Roadhouse.
I love Roadhouse. I did not like.
Yeah, Kelly.
What was her? Kelly Preston? No,
Not Kelly Preston, but it is Kelly.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Time for Sports Roulette. We take some of the big storylines and put it on a roulette wheel. We spin it. Wherever that little ball lands is what we end up talking about. So with that, Lloyd, fired up.
They ran you out, Mike. Take a stand.
You brought this up earlier, Michael Malone.
Oh, yeah.
He was trying to get his house in order back in Denver.
Yep.
And people were coming undone because they thought that he said, now you're seeing why Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is the rightful owner of the MVP, when actually what he was saying was, are you watching what he's doing? Like, he's showing that he definitely belongs and deserves. He's showing what an MVP would do. Well, he came out and he said, I did vote for Nikola. I'll put in Nikola in parentheses, but he said him again this year if I had a vote. He said, I want to make sure that the people in Denver know that, because right now I'm getting a lot of heat back home. But Michael Malone is trying to repair some
They
things.
fired you. It's all right. Go scorched earth.
That's what I'm saying.
Not your home anymore.
If Jokic would have stormed in that office and said, if he goes, I go, like Jimmy Chitwood on Hoosiers. Like, if Coach stays, I'll play. If he would have done that, Mike Malone would still be the coach.
Yeah.
So you owe him no loyalty. If you think Shea's the MVP, then call him the MVP. You don't have to backtrack it. Am I off on this?
No.
Oh, Lloyd's just giving me a weird look.
Not
There's
at all.
no weird look.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no,
I think you've nailed it.
I thought maybe I said something confusing,
No,
which has been known to happen on this show.
I think you nailed it.
All right. Spin it.
Putting my socks on.
Brother, I am knee deep in this Red Sox season.
It is another edition of Red Sox at the 40s.
It is currently 19-3 in the 8th inning, and the Red Sox are putting it on the mighty Baltimore Orioles. They're not the ones that was quickest to 40, was it?
No, that was the Rockies. But the Orioles at one point had, I think, one of the worst losing streaks in the history of baseball.
I think they did. They're not a good team, but 19-3, and it's the bottom of the 8th. Devers has 8 RBIs and 2 home runs.
He's the guy that had the walk-off with you, right?
He was. He was the one that knocked out the walk-off home run in the back-to-back that I went and watched.
You sure you want to grab onto this team? They're not even that good either.
Yeah, but they will be. This is a safe team to hitch your wagon to.
Are they 500 at least?
No, they're below 500.
Really?
Yeah.
Only a game. Only a game.
Oh, okay.
Only a game.
But you know they'll always be there, and they'll always be relevant. Like, that's a safe team to cheer for.
This is crazy, though, 19-3.
But look, I think you can dip your toes in both sides of the water here, where you can be AL, Red Sox guy, NL, Dodger fan. And if they play in a World Series, then you'll figure that out when that time comes.
Being fans of 2 Major League Baseball teams is no.
Well,
I don't think so.
Hey, guess what? He's going to games.
Yeah, I
Lloyd.
understand that he's going to games,
both
so it makes him more of a fan than most.
Yeah.
I understand that, but I don't.
You going to cry in there, Mr. 400 South? You going to cry yourself?
Today,
You gonna
not
cry
today.
yourself?
Not today.
You want
I really
some
actually.
fries
I
with
do
that hamburger?
I do appreciate that actually today.
Yeah. And the fact that you do take his call, too, I think is impressive.
Now, like, if you want to root for, an AFC, or an NL team in the World Series or whatever, fine. Or an AL team in the World Series.
What about, could you do this in the NFL? Can you have a AFC team and an NFC team? Because I don't think you can. But baseball, I know we've got interleague play for almost probably 20 years now, but back in the day, these teams never played each other. So
Right.
you were pretty safe to really root for one in the NL and one in the AL. And I think that still exists a little bit. But I don't think you can do that in the NFL. The Major League Baseball is the one sport I think you can get away with this.
I don't know. In the play, because the Raiders haven't been in the playoffs for so long. Like, who's I always really actually do enjoy for some reason? I actually always like the Bills because they're that lovable loser that never wins. So I kind of root for them.
Hey, what about this as just kind of an alternative? What if can I just hate the Yankees? Is that something?
Well, everybody hates the Yankees if you're not a Yankees
that's fair.
fan. Yeah.
So as a Cubs fan, do you hate the Yankees?
I don't really care about the Yankees. Plus, my father-in-law and his dad are diehard Yankee fans. And so I always tread very lightly when it comes to the Yankees. But they are kind of an easy team to hate, although they've been kind of a non-story for quite a while.
Yeah, with still a major payroll.
At least by Yankee standards.
They're paying insane amount of money.
No, they're not paying what they used to.
Are you sure?
Steinbrenner used to get looser than most.
When the old man was alive,
Yeah,
he was
that Steinbrenner, yes.
But the son likes to
He's a
little cheaper.
Yes.
Yeah. And then throws Cashman under the bus. All right. Yeah, one more. Let's spin it.
How about this? Just stay off social media.
I don't know if I should bring this up or not. Speaking of your Red Sox, because I think we got you in a good mood now.
Yeah.
This might put you in a bad mood.
No, you can't put me in a bad mood.
Okay.
Red Sox are rolling.
Well, it's a little different, though. Liam Hendricks took to social media to condemn the offensive message that people are making against him and his family. He said on his Instagram account, "Threats against my life and my wife's life are horrible and cruel. I think I speak for all players who have to deal with this in their careers when I say enough is enough." Alex Cora, the manager, also has come out and said, we're in the public eye. People feel they have the right to say whatever they want. Sometimes it comes from real people. Other times it comes from burner accounts, fake people. It puts everybody in a tough spot. All right. You have sold me on this 1,000%. So anytime I have a chance to share your stance on this, I share it wholeheartedly. You're a major league athlete. You're paid millions and millions of dollars. While that doesn't mean that you have to deal with this, it also means you have the opportunity not to deal with it. Yeah. And your choice to go into your DMs, your choice, or you going into your mentions, that's a you choice. You can turn all of that off, and you can live a very ignorant life in terms of what people are saying about you. You can isolate yourself with just a touch of the button. If you're not narcissistic, and if you're not all caught up in what people are thinking about you, you can turn that off and live a very calm, normal life, because nobody in their right mind would come up to you on a street and say this stuff to you.
Nope.
It's just a bunch of keyboard warriors. So if you get obsessed with what the keyboard warriors are telling you, that's kind of a you problem. Now, look, I'm not condoning what anybody's saying to you. That's horrible, disgusting stuff.
Yeah, they should go to hell for it.
Absolutely. But you're also choosing to consume it. And you don't have to.
No.
You absolutely do not have to.
And the best way to get back at them is to completely ignore them. Yeah, just ignore it.
Because I guarantee you go out and you say these public comments like this, guess what you get? You'll get your diehard fans like, yeah, you tell him. And then you'll also get a bunch of people like, I got him. I got under his skin.
Yeah.
I got him.
Yeah, and let your fans do the work.
Yes.
You know? So I actually, this is kind of an interesting story because Liam Hendriks came in for like an inning in that Braves series that I was at. So he came in on the Friday game and was properly taken off the mound. And then they put him on the mound against the Mets, and he gave up 3 hits and 3 runs in like 1/3 an inning. So they pulled him off the mound, and that's where all the hate came from. And it's Boston, man. Boston people are not the most thoughtful.
No.
And they aren't really afraid to go to jail. Like I don't know what it is, man. They're a different breed. So you got to know what your fan base is, and you got to know. Okay, and by the way, they were down 2-1 when he took the mound, and went down 5-1 instantly with 3 hits that he gave up. You got to have some self-awareness.
Yeah.
Now, he's probably heartbroken because eventually this will lead to him exiting the majors.
And that is fair enough to be concerned about. That should be your primary concern.
And don't even concern yourself with what people think about you, because you know what? You might have to be on the mound tomorrow. Yeah, you better be ready. And if you're concerned about what Tom, Dick, and Harry are saying about you on social media, then your mind isn't where it needs to be. Your mind has got to figure out a way to break a batter. You got to figure out a way to get out of an inning. You're paid a lot of money to get me out of an inning. I got to be able to put you on that mound, get me the hell out of the inning. Don't give up 3 runs. I mean, he was terrible. In the time that he took the mound in the game that I went to Friday, it was bad. They had a couple that got on the mound, and it was like, ruined it.
Yeah, fans get after him.
Bernardino is the one that lost it for him Friday night. No, fans got after Bernardino. Bernardino gave up 2 or 3 runs because it was tight all the way to the 9th, and they put Bernardino on the mound, and he was crack, sent a couple all the way over to Green Monster. and it's signage.
You know what? If I get more Monster from you, I just want you to.
What
be
do you want me to do?
No, I do. I'm just saying, if as long as I'm going to get more Monster.
Hey, maybe this will lead to our endorsement, Monster energy drinks. Please hop on board.
They're delicious.
They're delicious.
How was your delicious again?
They're delicious. Hey, who's driving the Kia Soul? What are you in the parking lot?
Hans and Scotty will wrap this bad boy up next. Get you ready for, hopefully for all of you, a long weekend. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The latest on the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, and Aggies? Yeah, we've got you covered. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the Sports Zone.
No, not Dua Lipa. Nope.
Gwen Stefani? Oh, okay.
Halsey?
Gwen Stefani?
Dua Lipa?
Nope.
Selena.
Salinas.
No.
You know, Selena's got a signature Oreo cookie coming out.
Which Selena?
Gomez.
Oh. No, I didn't know that. What's in the middle?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I just know that everybody's talking about because Posty had his own Oreo cookie.
He should.
And now Selena Gomez apparently is going to have an Oreo cookie.
Utah's own Posty.
Yes.
By the way, when Lloyd plays this music.
By the way, this is Hardy, right?
All I can picture is PK front row.
Oh, yeah. I guarantee PK knew who Hardy was.
Promise you.
Lainey Wilson. Have you heard of Lainey Wilson?
I've heard the name.
No.
I don't know if I couldn't pick her out of a lineup, though.
She is really good.
Oh, wait a minute. Lloyd, how you said that, was that like really good or really good? Like
No, she's all of the above.
that sounded very like,
I'm telling her voice is like an angel.
you smell good.
No, not like that.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit.
I've never heard of the person. But I guarantee you, Dua Lipa is a better singer.
Dua Lipa. Oh, well, hey, enjoy your weekend. Hopefully you have Memorial Day off. Hans and I and Lloyd do. So we will see you back here on Tuesday of next week. But go out there, celebrate your grads, celebrate. Oh, did you do any more shout outs or did that all came to an end? With,
Yeah, a Buster ended it.
yeah, thanks a lot, Buster.
Buster ruined it.
Only takes one of you listeners to get sideways and sneak one past Lloyd, and you ruin it for everybody.
BC really bombed.
Not okay. All right, JJ and Alex next. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you back on Tuesday. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.